Hey guys, Ken here from the Retro Toy Escapades channel in Malaysia. Ramen Toy just released their 80s Commanders 3-pack set, which features updated homage-style versions of the classic Centurions toys. Before I get into reviewing those figures, I thought I'd take a closer look again at the original Centurions action figures, starting with team leader Max Ray. The Centurions figures were huge for their time, alright, just really tall and big figures and needed to be housed in larger packaging boxes. Now these boxes were quite elaborately shaped. They could have just gone with simple square window boxes, but they decided to give these things a bit more of a futuristic styled cardboard edge to them, alright. As you can see here from the shape of this thing, it really evokes a sense of something that's sci-fi, alright, sci-fi action adventure. The top of the box states the character name and his designation, Max Ray, Sea Operations Expert. Now all of the weapon systems that these figures came with had individual names. This one's called the Cruiser Assault. At the bottom of the box here, you get Max Ray engaging in some furious aquatic action. I sure hope that shark there doesn't get caught in the crossfire, guys. Yeah, save the sharks. On the sides of the box here, you get actual photo images of the toy in action, in underwater action, right? As he's in a surface attack mode and also in underwater sea attack mode. On this side of the box, the photos show you how you can use the accessories to form a completely unique weapon system, and this one is a mode called Turbo Thrust. We're gonna check that out in the review later. Now on the box back, you get a full bio on Max Ray. Some pretty interesting stuff here, like the fact that he built his own nuclear-powered submarine at the age of 14. Parents, please check what your kids are up to. I like how they subtly inserted an Easter egg into his name there. Like, the name Max Ray kind of like evokes something that's aquatic, like a stingray or a manta ray. Like I mentioned, these figures are some of the largest ever released in the 1980s, close to about maybe 8 inches in height. Now I really like the quality of the plastic that's used here on the figures. If you look closely, you can see that the paint apps have a sort of a glossy finish to them, and that really makes the sculpt stand out. The job that they did with his face is a dead ringer for Tom Selleck, man, TV's Magnum PI himself. Yeah, that's right, I'm throwing in a Magnum reference because I expect my audience here to know exactly who that is. The articulation is fantastic. I mean, he's got a ball-jointed neck. Come on, okay? How many 1980s action figures could actually do that? And the movement is really, really smooth. He's got ball-jointed shoulders that can move out from side to side, up and down. He's got an articulation point at the elbow, alright, so that's cool. Pretty much a rarity for a 1980s figure as well. Nothing much with the wrists though, okay, the wrists don't turn around or anything like that. I suppose you don't really need them to. But one thing that I'm really disappointed with is that there's no waist articulation, alright, okay. The thighs, alright, okay, do move up and down. There's a ball joint there. And he does bend at the knees, so that's fantastic, okay? Nothing much at the feet. You don't really need them to be articulated. Overall, I have to say that the amount of articulation here is very, very generous, and the joints are really tight. Okay, I gotta say honestly, for something like this, you need it to be tight, okay? Definitely. Overall, I'm really happy because this figure can actually do so much more than your average 1980s action figure. And let's not forget that you can also get him in that classic Centurions power extreme pose, alright? Just like that, in that X pose, drawing down the power from the skies. Now he gets a nice big helmet. I like this one. It's rubber, okay, soft rubber. You'll need it to be that because it needs to fit over his head smoothly. One thing I'll have to mention is that the emblem here, the Centurions emblem, is actually painted and applied onto the helmet itself. You might want to be careful with that because I've seen a lot of these helmets with the emblem here, with the logo rubbed off, all right? Probably from handling, probably from having fingers and thumbs graze against it. So you might want to be careful with that one. Okay, weapons check. Max comes with a nice big red air pack unit. I really like this thing. It's got all these stamps here that attach to any of the points on the figure's body that has got the open slots to them. And you can also attach other weapons to the back of this air pack unit too. Then he gets a nice and blue sturdy missile launcher. This thing fits onto the back of the air pack unit or any of the points on the figure's body. This thing comes with a large red missile. Let's get them both combined together. Now this missile has an incredible firing range. I'm not kidding you guys, okay? When you put it at a suitable distance, it can actually clear half the room. All right, this thing really does fire, as with all of the classic KENNER firing mechanisms. The majority of its accessories have colors that reflect something that you'd see maybe in a coral reef, right? But the next batch of accessories are all yellow in color, like these twin turbo thrusters. Yeah, these two help to boost him along the ocean floor. Then he gets this giant yellow fin accessory. Yeah, I guess if it's an aquatic based character, you're gonna need something attached to him that looks like a fin. The last piece he gets is this giant yellow repulsor cannon. Now this thing's pretty cool looking. It's also the only other piece of weaponry he comes with aside from the missile launcher. Okay, now it's time to get Max geared up. As you can see, the helmet fits over him smoothly, right? Real smooth. He looks fantastic in this mode, ready for combat. Okay, next it's time to get the air pack unit strapped on. Just make sure the stamps on the back of the unit align with all of the holes on the figure's back, and everything just snaps into place. Real nice and real tight. There you go. Okay, and then you get the missile launcher, and just make sure that it aligns as well with the backpack. And shit, you gotta be careful with the trigger on this missile launcher. It's super sensitive. Okay, let's try that again. All right, just get it back in there. Make sure you hear that click. Yeah, that's right. Nice and tight. Okay, stay there. Okay, stay there. Okay, the set of twin thrusters. Now these go into the slots along his ankle right there, and they can be positioned around. Okay, yeah, you can just spin them around in whichever position you want them to be. And yeah, all of these connection points are very, very smooth. I'm very happy. Okay, this thing has actually stood up to the test of time very, very well. Okay, now we've got the giant yellow repulsor cannon. Now this thing can be fitted onto any part of his body that you want him to be shooting stuff from. But ideally, it looks best on his arm, just like that. And all right, and then after you're done with that, you get down to the last piece, okay? The honking huge fin. Now this thing ideally looks best right smack in the center of the figure, just like this. All right, you could also have it placed on the back and probably along the sides of his arms if you wanted to, but it looks best in the center. And talking about the center, this center slot here actually also works as a trigger because there's a spring-loaded gimmick activation point inside there. And if you were to turn the fin, when this thing is inserted in the center, it's going to cause the missile to launch out. All right, so let's see if we check that out. Okay, it's very, very sensitive though. All right, so be careful when you're handling it. All right, this thing's just going to pop out without warning. So just have it, just gently turn it and pow. See that? Yeah, it's pretty cool actually. Okay, let's check out the missile against the Max Ray from Toy. Let's go. Whoa, he just took it standing up, man. He didn't even topple. Okay, let's try it one more time. Okay, one more time. The missile just grazed him. Okay, this time, man, is it gonna be a knockout? Come on, let's go. Boom. Yeah, that's a direct hit. Now, something I wanted to mention is that this missile is actually made of very sturdy plastic. It's really hard, and coupled with the fact that the firing mechanism on the launcher has an excellent range, you gotta be careful when you're using this. Don't fire it at anyone. Now, one thing that's very impressive is that Max comes with a lot of large, bulky accessories for him to lug around that attaches to his figure, but the figure has got no stability problems. It stands up really well. The balancing on this figure is fantastic. Okay, that's what you want. You don't want a figure that just topples over from the weight of everything that's on him. Okay, now let's try out that alternate turbo thrust mode that we saw on the packaging. Let's get the air pack unit off his back and have it attached instead to his front, like so. All right, so you see this thing locks in the front just as fine as it did in the back. Let's get everything onto him. So the instructions say that the repulsor cannon goes onto the air pack unit like this. Okay, let's get it in there, and then let's get the missile launcher attached to the repulsor cannon. All right, yeah, just get it in there like that. Yeah, look how everything just lines up pretty well, don't it? Okay, and then you get the missile in there, just get it locked in there, like so. Shit. Okay, you may want to make sure that everything's just, plugged in solidly enough. Okay, all right, let's try that again. Okay, let's get that locked in there. And, let's get the missile launcher in there once more. Okay, all right, so everything's locked into place. He's pretty front heavy. I gotta say, there's a lot of stuff happening there at the front. On the back here, what you need to do is to insert the fin. Okay, get the fin inserted in there, right on the back there. You can have it either way, position upwards or downwards. And then you get the twin thrusters. You lock it in alongside the fins like so. All right, there's two twin thrusters. Just get them locked in there. So yeah, everything's just upper body. Okay, all the accessories are on his upper body. And there you have it, guys, the turbo thrust mode. Now, I have to say that this is pretty impressive looking, but this isn't the limit of what you can actually achieve with this figure. There's dozens of other accessory combinations that you can look at, and that's part of the fun of the Centurions, is the interactivity. Now, I have to say, I'm also impressed at the fact that this guy isn't toppling forward, right? With all that stuff happening in the front there, he's still standing up really well. When you've got the fin accessory plugged into the back like this and then you rotate it around, this causes the front weaponry to also rotate, right? So Max can pretty much just blast the enemy from all sides. Okay guys, so that's my look at the classic KENNER Toys Centurions Max Ray figure from 1986. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you thought of it in the comment section below. Let me know what you guys think of the Centurions. Did you guys collect these awesome action figures when you were growing up? And I'll catch you guys again real soon with more content on the channel. Thank you and take care out there.